Unexpected prodigy, the discovery of Sarah Chen. The Galactic Federation Academy stood as a beacon of interstellar cooperation, its gleaming spires reaching towards the stars it sought to explore. For centuries, it had been the proving ground for the brightest minds across 1,000 worlds. But today, something unprecedented was about to unfold within its hallowed halls. Commander Zaxelor, a veteran instructor with scales that shimmered like polished obsidian, paced nervously before the entrance to Simulation Chamber 17. His tail twitched with anticipation, a rare display of emotion for the usually stoic Draconid. Today's trial was different. Today, they were about to test a human. "This is highly irregular," muttered Sub-Commander Vex, Zaxelor's assistant. The small, green-skinned Thelonian's antennae quivered with disapproval. "Humans have never been permitted to operate our vessels. Their planet has barely achieved interplanetary travel." Zaxelor's golden eyes narrowed. "Orders are orders, Vex. The Council has spoken, and we must obey." As if on cue, the chamber doors hissed open. A small figure stepped out, clad in the standard grey jumpsuit of Federation cadets. Sarah Chen stood barely over 5 feet tall, her black hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. Her dark eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail with quiet intensity. "Cadet Chen reporting for evaluation, sir," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Zaxelor studied her, his expression unreadable. "Very well, Cadet. You understand the parameters of this test?" Sarah nodded. "Yes, sir. A level 10 combat simulation. Defend the Proxima Centauri colony from a surprised swarm attack." Vex scoffed. "Level 10? Impossible. Even our most seasoned captains struggle with level 8 simulations." But Zaxelor held up a clawed hand, silencing his assistant. "Proceed to your station, Cadet Chen. May the stars guide your path." As Sarah entered the simulation pod, Zaxelor and Vex retreated to the observation deck. The chamber hummed to life, holographic displays flickering into existence around them. Simulation commencing in 3, 2, 1. The universe exploded into being around Sarah. She found herself on the bridge of a Federation destroyer, alarms blaring as the swarm's bioships swarmed towards the helpless colony. "This is insanity," Vex muttered, watching Sarah's vital signs spike on the monitor. "She'll be overwhelmed in seconds." But as the minutes ticked by, both alien instructors found themselves leaning forward, eyes wide with disbelief. Sarah's fingers danced across the control panels, executing maneuvers that should have been impossible for a novice pilot, let alone a human who had never set foot on a real starship. The swarm attacked in waves, their ships moving with hive-mind precision. Yet for every assault, Sarah had a counter. She split her fighter squadrons, using the colony's magnetic field to mask their approach. When the swarm adapted, she reconfigured the ship's shields to emit a frequency that confused their biosensors. An hour into the simulation, Zaxelor's communicator chirped. "Commander," came the urgent voice of the Academy's director. "What in the name of the 7 moons is happening in Chamber 17? Half the senior staff is watching these readings, and they're demanding answers." Zaxelor's voice was barely above a whisper. "Director, I have no explanation. The human cadet is not just surviving the level 10 simulation, she's winning." On the holo display, Sarah's destroyer executed a daring maneuver, diving into the colony's atmosphere. The move drew the remaining swarm ships into a tight formation, allowing her to unleash a devastating barrage that shattered their defenses. As the last enemy ship exploded in a shower of holographic debris, the simulation faded. Sarah emerged from the pod, her face flushed but her eyes bright with adrenaline. "Simulation complete, sir," she reported, standing at attention before the stunned instructors. "Colony defended, minimal civilian casualties." Zaxelor's mind raced. In all his years at the Academy, he had never seen anything like this. The implications were staggering. If one human could achieve this level of proficiency, what did it mean for the future of the Federation? Cadet Chen, he said slowly, your performance was unprecedented. But I must ask how? How is this possible when you've never even left your home planet? Sarah hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face. I'm not entirely sure, sir. It just felt natural, like I've done this 1,000 times before. Vex's antennae twitched rapidly. Impossible. No human has ever piloted a Federation vessel, let alone in combat. But Zaxelo held up a hand, his eyes never leaving Sarah. Perhaps, he mused, we are dealing with something beyond our current understanding. He tapped his communicator. Director, I believe we need to convene an emergency session of the Council. The human situation has evolved. As Sarah was led away for debriefing, whispers spread through the academy like wildfire. Instructors huddled in corners, cadets from a dozen species traded wild theories. One thing was clear: the arrival of Sarah Chen had shattered assumptions and opened up possibilities that would reshape the galactic order. In his private quarters that night, Zaxlor pored over Sarah's test results, searching for any sign of deception or malfunction. He found none. The human's performance was real, and it was revolutionary. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. Enter, he called. The door slid open to reveal the Academy's chief medical officer, Dr. Lyra. The Athosian's luminescent skin pulsed with barely contained excitement. Commander, you need to see this, she said, holding out a data pad. We've completed our initial scans of Cadet Chen, and, well, you won't believe it. Zaxlor took the pad, his eyes widening as he scrolled through the results. This can't be right, he muttered. Dr. Lyra nodded. I've triple-checked every reading. Sarah Chen's neural pathways, her reflexes, even her cellular structure, they're unlike anything we've ever seen in a human. It's as if she were designed for this, Zaxlor finished, a chill running down his spine. The implications were staggering. If Sarah Chen wasn't a fluke, if she represented some new evolution of humanity, the balance of power in the galaxy could shift overnight. The Federation's careful control over faster-than-light technology, their monopoly on advanced weaponry, all of it could crumble. What do we do? Dr. Lyra asked, her bioluminescence dimming with concern. Zaxlor set down the data pad, his decision made. We proceed with caution, but we proceed. Sarah Chen will continue her training, but we'll be watching her very, very closely. He turned to gaze out at the star-filled sky. The age of human isolation is over. Whether we're ready or not, a new era is dawning. As the news of Sarah's unprecedented performance spread, reactions across the galaxy varied wildly. Some hailed it as the dawn of a new age of cooperation. Others saw it as a threat to the established order. And in shadowy corners of distant worlds, forces both sinister and curious began to take notice. Sarah Chen, unaware of the storm brewing around her, slept peacefully in her academy quarters. In her dreams, she soared through star systems, her hands guiding ships as if they were extensions of her own body. She didn't understand the source of her abilities, but deep down, she knew this was only the beginning. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what this unexpected human prodigy would do next. The galaxy was changing, and Sarah Chen was at the heart of it all. Trial by fire. Sarah's first space battle. The weeks following Sarah Chen's astounding simulation performance were a whirlwind of activity. The young human found herself thrust into an accelerated training program, her days filled with increasingly complex simulations and rigorous physical conditioning. Through it all, Sarah's abilities continued to astound her instructors and fellow cadets alike. Commander Zaxlor watched her progress with a mixture of awe and trepidation. She's advancing at an unprecedented rate, he reported to the Federation Council during a secure holographic meeting. Her tactical instincts, her grasp of xenotechnology, it's as if she's been doing this for decades. Councillor Thrix, a wizened Arcturian, leaned forward, his multifaceted eyes glittering. And you're certain there's no evidence of foul play? No hidden augmentations or illegal enhancements? Zaxelor shook his head. None that we can detect, Counselor. Whatever Sarah Chen is, she appears to be natural. The implications hung heavy in the air. If humans were capable of producing individuals like Sarah, the galaxy's power dynamics could shift dramatically. Some on the Council saw opportunity, others threat. We must test her in a real combat situation, declared Admiral Cora, her holographic tentacles writhing with excitement. Simulations can only tell us so much. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the Council. Zaxelor felt a knot of unease in his stomach, but he knew there was no stopping this now. Very well, he said. I'll make the arrangements. 2 days later, Sarah found herself aboard the SCS Intrepid, a sleek patrol cruiser assigned to the outer rim of Federation space. She stood on the bridge, trying to contain her excitement as real starlight streamed through the viewports. Captain Nix, a grizzled Volprin veteran, eyed her skeptically. I don't care what miracles you've pulled off in simulations, cadet, he growled. Out here, one mistake means death. Are you ready for that? Sarah met his gaze steadily. Yes, sir. I won't let you down. Before Nix could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace, shouted the sensor officer. It's the Crimson Horde. The view screen lit up with a dozen pirate vessels, their hulls adorned with blood-red markings. The Crimson Horde was infamous for their brutality, preying on civilian transports and isolated colonies. Captain Nix barked orders, his crew scrambling to battle stations. But as the first volley of enemy fire rocked the Intrepid, he turned to Sarah. All right, cadet, he said, his voice grim. Show us what you can do. Without hesitation, Sarah slid into the tactical station. Her fingers flew across the controls, and suddenly the Intrepid moved like a ship half its size. She corkscrewed through the pirate formation, unleashing precise bursts of energy that crippled 2 enemy vessels in rapid succession. The bridge crew watched in amazement as Sarah coordinated point defense systems, navigational thrusters, and weapons arrays simultaneously. It was as if the ship had become an extension of her own body. Impossible, muttered the Intrepid's tactical officer. No one can process that much information at once. But Sarah wasn't finished. As the pirates regrouped for another assault, she initiated a daring maneuver. The Intrepid dove towards a nearby gas giant, using its gravitational field to slingshot around and behind the enemy fleet. In those precious seconds of confusion, Sarah unleashed a barrage that shattered the pirates' defensive formation. All hands, brace for impact, Sarah shouted, her eyes locked on the tactical display. The Intrepid shuddered as it plowed through a field of debris, emerging on the other side to find the remaining pirate ships in disarray. Captain Nix, his initial skepticism forgotten, seized the moment. All batteries fire at will, he roared. The battle was over in minutes. The few surviving pirate vessels fled into hyperspace, leaving behind a graveyard of twisted metal and flickering energy fields. As the adrenaline of combat faded, Sarah became aware of the stunned silence on the bridge. She turned to find the entire crew staring at her in disbelief. Captain Nix approached slowly, his expression unreadable. In 30 years of service, he said quietly, I've never seen anything like that. He extended a hand. Well done, Cadet Chen. Well done indeed. The news of Sarah's victory spread through Federation channels like wildfire. Overnight, she became a sensation. Some hailed her as a hero, a symbol of humanity's untapped potential. Others whispered darker theories, unable to accept that a mere human could achieve such feats. Back at the Academy, Commander Zaxelor received the after-action reports with growing concern. Sarah's performance had exceeded even their most optimistic projections. But as he pored over the data, a chill ran down his spine. Hidden in the Intrepid's sensor logs was an anomaly, a brief energy signature unlike anything in Federation records. It had appeared for just a fraction of a second during the height of the battle, emanating from Sarah herself. Zaxelor's claws tightened around the datapad. What are you, Sarah Chen? He wondered. And what have we unleashed upon the galaxy? As Sarah basked in the glow of her victory, she remained unaware of the forces gathering around her. In the shadowy corners of the Federation, ancient powers stared. On distant worlds, forgotten technologies hummed to life. And in the void between stars, something vast and inscrutable turned its attention towards the young human who had defied all expectations. The battle against the Crimson Horde was just the beginning. Sarah Chen's true trial by fire was yet to come, and its outcome would reshape the destiny of entire civilizations. That night, as Sarah slept in her quarters aboard the Intrepid, she dreamed of stars and ships and impossible maneuvers. But beneath the triumph and exhilaration, a quiet voice whispered in the back of her mind. "Who am I really?" it asked. "And why do I feel like I'm only just beginning to wake up?" The answers to those questions would take her on a journey beyond anything she could imagine, to the very heart of what it means to be human in a universe full of wonders and terrors. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what Sarah Chen would do next. Unraveling mysteries. The truth about Sarah's origins. The aftermath of Sarah Chen's spectacular victory against the Crimson Horde brought more questions than answers. As the young cadet returned to the Galactic Federation Academy, she found herself at the center of a storm of attention, speculation, and brewing suspicion. Commander Zaxelor paced in his office, his scaled tail twitching with agitation. The data from Sarah's battle performance lay scattered across his desk, each report more astounding than the last. But it was the anomalous energy signature that truly troubled him. A chime at his door interrupted his brooding. "Enter," he called. Dr. Lyra glided in, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with excitement. "Commander, I've completed my analysis of Sarah's latest medical scans. You need to see this." As Zaxelor reviewed the data, his golden eyes widened. This can't be right," he muttered. "I've triple-checked every reading," Lyra insisted. "Sarah's neural pathways are reconfiguring themselves. It's as if her brain is evolving in real time, adapting to each new challenge." Zaxelor's claws tightened around the datapad. "Is she aware of these changes?" Lyra shook her head. "I don't believe so. But Commander, there's more. I've detected trace amounts of an unknown element in her bloodstream. It's unlike anything in our database." Before Zaxelor could respond, an urgent message flashed across his terminal. His heart sank as he read it. "The Council is demanding a full inquiry," he said grimly. "They want answers, and they want them now." Meanwhile, Sarah found herself increasingly isolated. Her fellow cadets, once awed by her abilities, now regarded her with a mixture of fear and envy. Whispers followed her through the Academy's corridors. Was she really human? Was she some kind of secret Federation experiment? Only one person seemed unfazed by the growing tension. Kira Novak, a brilliant young engineer from Mars, had befriended Sarah in those first chaotic days after the battle. Now, as they sat in a quiet corner of the Academy's arboretum, Kira's eyes shone with curiosity. "You really don't know how you do it, do you?" she asked, leaning forward. Sarah shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. "It's like I'm remembering things I never learned. But that's impossible, right?" Kira's brow furrowed. "Maybe not. There are theories about genetic memory, about information passed down through DNA. But this is something else entirely." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a stern-faced security detail. "Cadet Chen," the lead officer announced, "you're to report to Interrogation Chamber 7 immediately. The Council has questions." Sarah's heart raced as she was led through unfamiliar corridors deep within the Academy. She found herself in a circular room, surrounded by holographic projections of the Federation's most powerful leaders. Councillor Fricks's multifaceted eyes gleamed as he spoke. "Cadet Chen, your achievements are unprecedented, but they have also raised concerns. We must know the truth of your origins and abilities." For hours, Sarah endured a barrage of questions. She answered as honestly as she could. But her own uncertainty only seemed to fuel the council's suspicions. As the interrogation dragged on, Sarah felt a strange pressure building behind her eyes. The room began to spin, and suddenly, vivid images flashed through her mind. She saw unfamiliar laboratories, heard snatches of conversation in languages she didn't understand. I remember, she gasped, her voice trembling. But it's not my memory, it's someone else's. The council chambers erupted in chaos. Some demanded Sarah be confined for further study. Others called for her immediate expulsion from the academy. But before any decision could be reached, alarms blared throughout the facility. "We're under attack," shouted a frantic voice over the comms. "Unknown vessels have breached our defenses." In the confusion that followed, Sarah felt a hand grasp her arm. It was Kira, her face pale but determined. "We need to go," she whispered urgently. "Now." As they raced through corridors filled with panicked cadets and staff, explosions rocked the academy. Sarah's instincts kicked in, and she found herself navigating the chaos with uncanny precision. They reached a small hangar bay just as another blast shook the building. Kira rushed to a sleek prototype shuttle. "I've been working on this," she explained, her fingers flying over the control panel. "It's not exactly approved, but it's our best shot at getting out of here." As the hangar doors began to buckle under some immense pressure, Sarah and Kira launched into space. Through the viewscreen, Sarah caught glimpses of the battle raging around the academy. The attacking ships were like nothing she'd ever seen, organic-looking vessels that moved with impossible grace. "They're here for me," Sarah realized, a cold certainty settling in her gut. "Whoever I really am, whatever I can do, they want it." Kira's hands tightened on the controls. "Then we'll make sure they don't get it." "Where to?" Sarah closed her eyes, letting instinct guide her. "Set a course for the Omega Nebula," she said. I think there are answers waiting for us there." As their small ship slipped into hyperspace, Sarah felt a profound shift within herself. The life she had known was over. The mystery of her true nature lay ahead, along with dangers beyond imagining. Back at the academy, Commander Zaxelor stood amid the wreckage of his office, watching the unknown fleet retreat into the depths of space. His communicator crackled to life. "This is Council Security," came a terse voice. "Cadet Sarah Chen has escaped custody. All units are ordered to apprehend her immediately." Zaxelor's heart's heavy. He made a decision that would alter the course of his career and possibly the fate of the galaxy. "Acknowledged," he replied. Then, switching to a secure channel, he sent a brief encoded message. "Sarah, trust your instincts. Find the truth. I'll do what I can from here. The fate of more than just humanity may rest in your hands. May the stars guide your path." As the message beamed across the vast expanse of space, Sarah and Kira hurtled towards an uncertain destiny. The Omega Nebula loomed before them, its swirling gases hiding secrets that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. The hunt for Sarah Chen had begun, and with it, a chain of events that would redefine the very nature of life, consciousness, and humanity's place among the stars. Confrontation and revelation, face to face with the Creator. The Omega Nebula loomed before them, a vast cosmic tapestry of swirling gases and newborn stars. Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of their stolen shuttle, her dark eyes reflecting the nebula's ethereal glow. Beside her, Kira Novak worked feverishly at the navigation console, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. "We're picking up some kind of signal," Kira reported, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's faint, but it's definitely artificial. And Sarah, it's pulsing at the exact frequency of your brainwaves." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "Can you pinpoint the source?" Kira nodded, bringing up a 3D map of the nebula. "It's coming from a planetoid near the core, but there's something else." She trailed off, her eyes widening. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Federation signatures. "They found us," Sarah muttered. She closed her eyes, reaching out with senses she didn't fully understand. No, not just the Federation. There's something else out there, something ancient. As if in response to her words, space itself seemed to ripple. A massive vessel emerged from the void, its organic curves a stark contrast to the angular Federation ships. It dwarfed everything around it, radiating power and age beyond comprehension. "What is that?" Kira whispered, awe and fear mingling in her voice. Before Sarah could respond, their shuttle's comms crackled to life. A voice, simultaneously familiar and alien, filled the cabin. "Sarah Chen," it said, its tones resonating on a level deeper than mere sound. "At last you'd have come home." Driven by an instinct she couldn't explain, Sarah took control of the shuttle. Her hands moved across the controls with fluid precision, guiding them towards the planetoid at the nebula's heart. The Federation ships and the alien vessel fell into formation behind them, locked in a tense standoff. As they descended through the planetoid's thin atmosphere, Sarah gasped. Below them stretched a vast metropolis unlike anything in known space. Crystalline spires reached towards the stars, pulsing with internal light. Streets and plazas teemed with beings of every conceivable form, some familiar, others defying description. They landed on a wide platform jutting from the tallest structure. As Sarah and Kira stepped out of the shuttle, they found themselves surrounded. Federation security forces formed a perimeter, their weapons trained on the two fugitives. Beyond them stood a group of beings that radiated an aura of ancient wisdom and power. And at the center of it all, a figure that made Sarah's heart skip a beat. He appeared human, but his eyes held the weight of eons. When he spoke, it was the same voice they had heard in space. "Welcome, Sarah," he said, a sad smile playing across his ageless features. "I am Dr. Elias Chen, your creator and your father." The revelation hit Sarah like a physical blow. "My father? But how? Why?" Elias gestured expansively. "This city, this entire world, is called Nexus. It is the hub of a network spanning galaxies and dimensions. We are the custodians, guardians of life and knowledge across the cosmos." He turned to Sarah, his eyes filled with a mixture of pride and regret. "Humanity is on the brink of a great leap forward, but with that power comes grave danger. You, Sarah, are the bridge, a human enhanced with our most advanced biotechnology, capable of interfacing with systems beyond your people's current understanding." "So I'm just some kind of experiment." Sarah's voice cracked with emotion. "A tool." Elias shook his head. "No, you are so much more. You are hope. A chance for humanity to join a community of worlds beyond their imagining." Before Sarah could respond, the standoff erupted into chaos. Federation forces, acting on orders from a council unwilling to let such power slip from their grasp, opened fire. The custodians responded with defenses that warped the fabric of reality itself. In the midst of the madness, Sarah felt something awakening within her. The full extent of her abilities surged to the surface. With a thought, she interfaced with Nexus's systems, her consciousness expanding to encompass the entire city. "Still pay." Her voice resonated on a level that cut through the din of battle. Everyone froze, caught in a field of energy emanating from Sarah. "This isn't the way," she continued, her voice echoing with newfound authority. "We stand at a crossroads, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life." She turned to the Federation forces. "Your fear is understandable, but short-sighted. The universe is vaster and more wondrous than you can imagine. Isolation is no longer an option." Then to the custodians, "And you, for all your power and knowledge, have forgotten the importance of choice. I may be your creation, but my path is my own to decide." As Sarah spoke, images flashed through the minds of all present. They saw the potential futures branching out before them, paths of conflict and destruction, but also avenues of cooperation and growth beyond imagining. Slowly, weapons lowered. The tension in the air dissipated, replaced by a sense of awe and possibility. Elias stepped forward, tears in his eyes. "You've surpassed all our expectations, Sarah. The choice, as you say, is yours. What would you have us do? Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless lives and civilizations resting on her next words. She reached out, taking Kira's hand in one of hers and Elias's in the other. We bridge the gap, she said firmly. No more secrets, no more isolation. It's time for humanity to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners, and I will be that bridge. As her words rang out across Nexus, rippling through subspace to the farthest reaches of the Federation, Sarah Chen felt a profound shift in the cosmic order. The path ahead would not be easy, but for the first time in eons, the barriers between worlds began to crumble. A new age was dawning, with humanity poised to play a pivotal role, and at the heart of it all stood Sarah Chen, no longer just a prodigy, but a beacon of hope for a united galaxy. The story of Sarah Chen and humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage was far from over. But in that moment, on a hidden world at the heart of the Omega Nebula, the first momentous chapter came to a close. The real adventure was just beginning. The grand escape, outsmarting an alien empire, the euphoria of revelation was short-lived. As Sarah Chen stood on the precipice of a new era for humanity and the galaxy at large, alarms blared throughout Nexus. The air shimmered with emergency force fields, and the crystalline spires pulsed with urgent crimson light. "We're under attack," Elias announced, his ancient eyes wide with disbelief. "It's the Axathori Empire. They must have followed the Federation fleet." Sarah's mind reeled. The Axathori was spoken of in whispers, even among the most advanced races. An empire spanning multiple galaxies, they viewed all other life as resources to be harvested or subjugated. Through her newfound connection to Nexus, Sarah saw the threat in its full, terrifying scope. Thousands of Althori warships dropped out of hyperspace, their black holes seeming to devour the light of nearby stars. They're after the Nexus technology, Kira realized, her face pale. With it, they could dominate every known civilization. Elias nodded grimly. "We've hidden from them for eons, but now—" He turned to Sarah, his expression a mixture of hope and resignation. "You're the key, Sarah, the bridge between worlds. You could unite the galaxy against this threat, but we need time." Sarah felt the weight of countless lives pressing down on her. She closed her eyes, reaching out with her enhanced senses. In an instant, she grasped the full capabilities of Nexus, the intricate web of technology and biology that spanned dimensions. "I have an idea," she said, her eyes snapping open with newfound determination. "But it's risky, and I'll need everyone's help." As Sarah outlined her plan, a spark of hope ignited among the gathered beings. It was audacious, perhaps even impossible, but it was their only chance. "Kira," Sarah turned to her friend, "I need you to coordinate with the Federation ships. We'll need every ounce of firepower they can muster." Kira nodded, her earlier awe replaced by steely resolve. "Consider it done." "Father," Sarah said, the words still feeling strange on her tongue, "can you and the other custodians channel the full power of Nexus through me?" Elias hesitated. "It's never been attempted. The strain could destroy you." Sarah managed a wry smile. "Well, no time like the present to make history." As the Axathori fleet entered the system, a flurry of activity erupted across Nexus. Federation ships formed a defensive perimeter, their crews setting aside old prejudices to face a common enemy. The custodians gathered in a great amphitheater, linking minds in preparation for the enormous task ahead. At the heart of it all stood Sarah, her body humming with barely contained energy. Kira worked furiously at a console beside her, coordinating the disparate forces. "Xathori ships entering weapons range," Kira reported, her voice tense. Sarah took a deep breath. Now. In that moment, the full power of Nexus surged through her. Sarah's consciousness expanded, encompassing not just the city or the planet, but the entire star system. She felt the pulse of every life, the thrum of every machine. With a thought, she reached out to the Axathori fleet. Their advanced technology was formidable, but to Sarah's enhanced perception, it was like clay in her hands. She began to rewrite their nav systems, planting false sensor data, scrambling their communications. The Exothori, confronted with an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, fell into disarray. Ships fired on phantom targets or found themselves flying in endless loops. But the strain on Sarah was immense. Blood trickled from her nose, and her body trembled with the effort of maintaining control. "Sarah," Kira cried, seeing her friend's distress. "You need to stop. You're killing yourself." But Sarah pressed on. With the last reserves of her strength, she issued a command that rippled through subspace. The fabric of reality itself seemed to bend to her will. In a blinding flash of light, the entire Exothori fleet vanished. As Sarah collapsed, Kira rushed to catch her. The assembled beings watched in awe as the stars above them shifted. Where once had been empty space, new constellations now burned. Elias approached, his face a mixture of concern and wonder. "What did you do?" Sarah managed a weak smile. "Sent them home, all the way home, to the farthest reach of their empire with a message. Earth and its allies are off limits." The implications were staggering. In one fell swoop, Sarah had not only saved Nexus, but had established humanity as a force to be reckoned with on a cosmic scale. As the immediate danger passed, a new challenge loomed. The secret of Nexus was out. Representatives from 100 worlds clamored for explanations, for access to the incredible technology they had glimpsed. Sarah, still weak but recovering, stood before the assembled delegates. Her voice, though soft, carried the weight of her incredible journey. "We stand at a crossroads," she began. "The barriers between our worlds have fallen. We can choose fear, suspicion, and conflict, or we can embrace this opportunity to forge a new future together." She gestured to the stars above, where the afterglow of her incredible feat still shimmered. "I've seen what we can accomplish when we unite. The Exothori were just the beginning. There are wonders out there beyond imagining, and terrors that will take all our combined strength to face." As Sarah spoke, she felt a new chapter beginning. The galaxy was changing, awakening to possibilities long hidden, and humanity, so long isolated on their little blue world, would play a pivotal role in shaping that future. But even as hope blossomed, Sarah knew that challenges lay ahead. The Exothori would return, stronger and more prepared. Other threats, ancient and terrible, stirred in the dark places between the stars. Yet for the first time, Sarah felt truly ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them. She was no longer just Sarah Chen, the prodigy who had never been to the academy. She was a bridge between worlds, a symbol of unity in a fractured cosmos. As the delegates debated and planned, Sarah turned her gaze to the star-filled sky. A new age was dawning, and its first light shone with infinite promise. A new era begins, humanity's place in the stars. The years following the Exothori incident passed in a whirlwind of diplomacy, technological exchange, and cultural upheaval. Sarah Chen, once a mysterious prodigy, now stood as a symbol of humanity's potential and a bridge between countless civilizations. On a crisp autumn morning, Sarah stood atop the newly constructed Unity Tower in Geneva, Earth's first truly extraterrestrial embassy. The gleaming structure, a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology, stretched towards the heavens. Around her, representatives from 100 worlds mingled, their diverse forms a testament to the incredible variety of life in the cosmos. Kira Novak, now Earth's lead xenotechnologist, approached with a grin. "Ready for your big speech, Ambassador Chen?" Sarah chuckled, smoothing down her formal attire, a blend of traditional human clothing and symbols of her unique status. "As ready as I'll ever be. How are the finals preps for the Mars terraform coming along?" "Right on schedule," Kira beamed. "Thanks to the custodian's atmospheric processors, we should have breathable air within a decade. The first permanent human colony beyond Earth." The conversation was interrupted by a familiar gravelly voice. "Admiring the view." Commander Zaxlaw, Now the Galactic Federation's liaison to Earth joined them at the railing. Sarah smiled warmly at her old instructor. Just reflecting on how far we've come. 5 years ago, humanity barely knew aliens existed. Now we're terraforming Mars and hosting interstellar conferences. Zaxlor's scales shimmered with amusement. And to think, it all started with a cadet who never went through the academy. You've certainly kept things interesting, Sarah. As they shared a laugh, a hush fell over the gathered dignitaries. It was time. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped up to the podium. Holographic displays shimmered to life, broadcasting her image to every corner of Earth and to countless worlds beyond. Distinguished representatives, honored guests, citizens of Earth and our galactic neighbors, she began, her voice steady and clear. Today, we celebrate not just the founding of the Interstellar Cooperative, but the dawn of a new era for all sentient life. As Sarah spoke, she felt the familiar tingle of her enhanced abilities. Through her connection to Nexus technology, she could sense the hopes and fears of the assembled beings, the weight of history pressing down on this moment. 5 years ago, we faced a threat that could have ended not just humanity, but countless civilizations across the cosmos. We prevailed not through force of arms, but through unity, innovation, and the courage to reach across the stars and call each other allies. Images flashed on the screens behind her, the defense of Nexus, the first human-alien cultural exchanges, the groundbreaking of the Mars colony. But our work is far from finished. Even now, the Axathori Empire rebuilds, their defeat only hardening their resolve. Ancient dangers stir in the dark places between galaxies, and closer to home, we grapple with the challenges of integrating vastly different cultures and technologies. Sarah's gaze swept across the audience, making eye contact with humans and aliens alike. Yet I stand before you filled with hope. In the span of a few short years, we've achieved what once seemed impossible. We've turned age-old rivals into stalwart friends. We've unlocked secrets of the universe that will revolutionize every aspect of our lives. And most importantly, we've proven that our differences need not divide us, that the very diversity of life is our greatest strength. As Sarah continued, she outlined her vision for the future. She spoke of joint scientific endeavors that would push the boundaries of known physics, of cultural exchange programs that would enrich countless worlds, of a united defense force that would stand vigilant against threats from within and without. The road ahead will not be easy, she cautioned. We will face setbacks, misunderstandings, and conflicts. But I believe with every fiber of my being that together, we can overcome any obstacle. As she concluded her speech, Sarah felt a profound sense of rightness. This was what she had been created for, not to conquer or control, but to unite, to inspire, to bridge the vast gulfs between worlds and species. The applause that followed was thunderous, a cacophony of cheers, trills, and other alien sounds of approval. As Sarah stepped down from the podium, she was engulfed in a sea of congratulations from beings of every imaginable form. Later that evening, as the celebrations wound down, Sarah found a quiet moment alone on the tower's observation deck. The stars shone brightly overhead, no longer distant and unreachable, but filled with promise and possibility. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see Elias, her creator and father, materializing in a shimmer of light. "You've done well, Sarah," he said, his ageless eyes filled with pride. "Better than we could have ever hoped." Sarah smiled, leaning against the railing. "There's still so much to do. The Axathori are rebuilding, and our long-range sensors have detected something stirring in the galactic core." Elias nodded solemnly. "The universe is vast and full of wonders, but also dangers beyond imagining. Humanity's journey is just beginning." "Our journey," Sarah corrected gently. "Whatever comes next, we face it together, humans, custodians, and all our new allies." As they stood in companionable silence, gazing at the star-filled sky, Sarah felt a profound sense of purpose. She was no longer just the prodigy who had never been to the academy. She was a bridge between worlds, a beacon of hope in a universe full of both peril and promise. The story of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage was far from over. New challenges, new wonders, and new horizons awaited. But as Sarah Chen looked to the future, she knew one thing with absolute certainty. Whatever the cosmos might throw at them, they would face it united, their differences becoming their greatest strength. And so, as night fell on Earth and countless worlds beyond, a new chapter in the grand cosmic story began to unfold. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, bearing witness to the dawn of an age of unprecedented cooperation, discovery, and adventure. The journey that had begun with one extraordinary human goal now encompassed entire civilizations, and the greatest adventures still lay ahead, waiting to be written in the vast and endless tapestry of the stars.